Happy Sunday, folks, and welcome back to this thing of ours podcast.
Where we talk about all of life's highs and lows.
And everything in between. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. There's one thing that I really cannot stand is when people almost make fun of the saying New Year, New Me. I feel like I have a right to say a New Year, New Me because I literally do not want to stay the same Amelia that I was last year and the year before that. So I don't understand why that saying is so hated on.
I think it's because a lot of people don't stick with their goals.
That sounds like a them problem.
Well, yeah, it is. Right? There's nothing wrong with attempting. Mm-hmm. And I think part of it also is the fact that everyone talks about the new year, new goals. You know, they get a gym membership. They do these different things. Mm-hmm. And some people stick with it, but a lot of people don't. So I think there's a lot of controversy, hatred, I don't know, different words that you can put on that towards goals for the new year, right?
Yeah.
Because I don't know, I feel like there are a lot of people that don't stick with their goals, but there's nothing wrong with attempting. Even if you don't end up sticking with it, there's nothing wrong with attempting.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. But, yeah.
And, I got the Peloton and I've been sticking with the Peloton. But it's funny because before you guys know the challenge of me trying to find time and me trying to get out of my lazy era, and
Just
I was
lazy
Googling.
routines.
Yes, my lazy routine. I think that's right. My lazy routines. Yeah. And it was hard. So, I went to Google, I went to YouTube, and I did what I think the most common thing to do is how to not be lazy. Type that into YouTube.
Did you really?
Yeah.
How to not be lazy?
Yeah.
Oh,
and then,
okay.
How to stay motivated, how to pursue your goals, how to, I in Google, how to budget, how to budget better, how to save more money. And it's funny because the whole how to literally is one of the top searches.
Okay.
I think for anything of the how to. As soon as you make a video on how to, I see so many views. And it's we always turn to everybody for an answer.
Instead of coming up with our own solution for our lives specifically.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be different for everybody.
Yeah.
And I think is that what you're trying to lead into?
Yeah. And it's funny because I was watching another video talking about budgeting. And he was talking about David Ramsey's solution there. And he was also talking about just banking and how banks always say, oh, come to, a financial advisor at our bank and we can help you save thousands of your money. And the guy was saying how budgeting is so specific to a person. Nobody has the answers, regardless if you think that they think they have the answers themselves. They can make a whole video on how to budget, which we did, but we showed it on our own experience.
Yeah.
Everyone's experience, everybody's income is going to be different. Everyone's expenses are going to be different. Even your expenses are totally different from my expenses, right? So what works for you in budgeting on, let's say, on how to save $20,000 isn't going to be how it works for me on how to save $20,000. Right?
Yeah. No, everybody's plan is going to be different.
Yeah.
And then when you think of it as a couple, me and you, then we have to kind of think together, what are some things that we want to save money for, and how can we kind of combine our own sort of saving plan, budgeting plan, to then get those things that we want, right? But yeah.
But that was just something that came across my mind. It's everyone's got answers. Everyone has an answer to something.
It's true.
And we can take that advice as a grain of salt and then try to make it our own and personalize it.
Yeah, you definitely do need to personalize it, because if you don't, it's going to be harder to follow through with it, right? You need to have it very specific to your life, your lifestyle, your requirements of what you have to pay specifically. Like everything has to be very, very personal.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
And you know, the other day, I know one of the goals that we mentioned here on the podcast was that I was going to go through my credit card statement and see where am I spending a lot of money on. And because this also relates to the budgeting, right? Because now that, you know, with inflation has gotten worse over time, you know, that same $150 that I was budgeting for groceries
is not $150 anymore.
No, it's not $150 today. And just in 1 month, you know, for me, that's a lot. Because I'm like, where did all my money went to? But I spent $500 on groceries. And then
in 1 month?
In 1 month.
Yeah.
And then that doesn't include what you spent on groceries.
Yeah, I mean, that includes small little things like they have a little lotto booth in there if you buy lotto tickets every once in a while. And it all goes under the same thing. So you can't really break it down specifically for groceries. But I'm sure a majority of that is groceries.
Yeah.
Right.
And it just goes to show like the little things add up. And then I'll end up watching another video because that's what YouTube likes to do, right? All part of the algorithm. You like one video, well, it's going to lead you to another one. And there was another girl that was talking about how she's not going to give up the coffee that she buys from Starbucks. And she said how like, oh, it's not the little things anymore that adds up. It's the big purchases. I don't know. To me, that didn't really make sense because she's like, let's be honest, I'm not going to give up my Starbucks, my $2.50.
Well, no, that's true. That's true. For majority of people, they're not going to give up some of the small things. You can cut out like some of the small things you can, some you probably won't. Like people go to, you know, they go on their lunch break and they get a coffee. And that's just like a habit that they built and that's going to be hard to break. So I think that's kind of what she was saying. But where I disagree is the large purchases. Large purchases, majority of the time we save up and they're more planned. Whereas either you've saved for it or you have a plan in place to pay for it, whether you're going to do it on a credit card, whether you're doing it on like a financing type plan. Like there's a plan in place for that purchase. It's the small things that we don't even think about, like going to buy coffee. Maybe you pick up one on your lunch break, but randomly you pick up one in the morning too because you don't have time to make coffee at home. Yeah. Right? But those small things, like let's say you buy a coffee in the morning twice a week just because you didn't have time to make a coffee. So those little things you never budgeted for, they're not in there, but you spend $3 twice a week, right? That adds up over the month, over the year. And that's like a small purchase. Not making a lunch and not bringing it to work, right? Then you're spending $10, $15 on lunch. And that could happen once a week, twice a week. Who knows? Yeah. It's not planned for, right? All those little things add up. But, so yeah, I think those are the types of things that we need to actually watch out for is the random purchases. It's not the big ones. The big ones we plan for. So I think she's wrong on that. Whoever you were listening to.
It was just like a random video that I came across.
Yeah. I think big purchases, almost everybody plans for because you almost have to. You do. Like you want to buy a new TV. Like you're not just going to go out and spend $500 or $1,000 just randomly. Like, no, that's something you got to like actually plan for.
Once again, it also depends on how much you're making and how much this person has. Like $1,000 could be a drop in a bucket for somebody. Yeah. Whereas $1,000 for like, let's say us, that's still like rent. You know what I mean? So, and that's what that first guy was saying, right? Like
why budgeting is very specific to the person. Yeah. There's no like one size fits all budgeting plan. Yeah.
Through someone else's eyes, it almost seems like you're always doing something wrong, right? And like, oh no, my way is the right way, or it seems like their way is always the right way. You know, like even doing our podcast, sometimes I feel like, well, what we're doing on our podcast is completely wrong.
They're doing interviews, they're doing different things, right? And it almost makes you feel like you're doing something wrong. And it could go for anything. Like our podcast is just an example, but anything like you're doing in your life, you see other people doing something similar and you're like, well, shoot, am I doing this wrong?
Yeah.
Like, should I be doing it the way they're doing it? And I think there's so much of that in the world that it's very easy to try compare yourself to other people, and then it kind of gets you off track because you were doing your own thing at first, but then you've seen how someone else was doing it and it throws you off. Like, I don't know, it gets you in your head like, am I doing it wrong? Right? Then you start questioning it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I want to know if that's how you guys feel too. If you guys have been doing something and then you came across something else and you're like, wow, well, this person has great results. Should I try this? You know, or should I change up what I've been doing for a while? Because I know that's what's also happened with your trading as well, right? Like you were trading before and then you were watching a whole bunch of other people trade and then you're like, well, am I trading wrong? But how you were trading
I was getting
works
results.
for you.
I was getting results on my own, doing my own thing, but then I started trying to throw in
what
little
other people
bits
were
of
doing.
what other people were doing, and it started not working anymore. So I had to basically take a step back and try to find myself and find what actually works for me, right? Because it's going to be different for everybody. Everybody has their own
technique of trading.
Well, it is just for life in general. Like everyone has their own path. Like you need to find what works for you specifically. You can try to take little bits from other people and, get a little bit of guidance. But at the end of the day, you need to put your own plan in place. You can't just take someone else's plan. I think that's the main thing.
Yeah, I think that's the main takeaway as well. Yeah, it's like almost like a recipe, Like you can make the exact same cookies, and then I go ahead and make the exact same cookies. It just doesn't work.
Yeah,
no, and it's true. It is true.
Yep.
Sometimes it's just that little ingredient that throws something off,
Yep.
or the amount that you put into it.
Yeah. I may be looking at the measuring cup and putting just under 4 cups, but you might be looking at it like, oh, I need to go just over 4 cups, and then that throws it off just slightly.
Yeah, just
very slightly, but it will.
I think that's gonna be my huge takeaway for from 2023 is just do our own thing. I think that's what it is. I feel like as long as the job gets done and it gets done and you're going to be proud of how you do it and be proud of the outcome, there is no one way, there's no one size fits all.
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah. Find your own way and do what works best for you, how you see fit. And it'll be easier to stick with it too. I find
I actually find it's a little harder. It's a lot more challenging.
Well,
I find.
I mean,
because when you're doing everything another person's doing, yes, it's hard because you're just like, well, why don't I get the same results? But at least you're like, in the back of my mind, I'm like, well, I'm still following their procedure. So eventually it's going to work, Like eventually it's going to come out the way it's supposed to come out because I'm following their plan.
But then you give up because you don't get results. I think in the short term, it's easier to follow because there's a plan in place. I think that's what maybe you're trying to explain there. But in the very short term, it'll be very easy to follow. But over time, you won't get the result that someone else got, and you'll get discouraged, and then that's when you fall off.
Yeah.
However, creating your own thing and creating your own plan and doing, things your way, it'll be hard at first because you don't know what to really do. You're trying out different things, right? But over time, you start seeing results, and it's something you created, right? that suits you, suits your lifestyle, suits the time you have to do certain things, suits your budget, your like everything.
Yeah.
It's built for you specifically. And that will be easier to follow long term. It'll be harder in the short term. So I think they're opposite. Following someone else's is easy in the short term, harder long term. Doing your own thing, harder short term, easier long term. I think that's basically what I was trying to say if you want to sum it up. But yes. Yeah. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. I don't know. That's the way I see it.
Let us know if you agree. Or like, what are your thoughts on doing things your own way?
Yeah. I mean, I would agree with the saying comparison is the thief of joy. I don't know if I've heard it exactly that way, but I think the main thing for 2024 is to just do your own thing. You know, find what works for you, find what makes you happy, and kind of stop looking outward for all the answers and start looking inward. Because I think that's where real joy that's where you'll find it. And lasting results is if you look inward, right? If you look outward, yeah, you might find short-term results, but will you stick with it? And will it end up being something that you can have long-term? Like, I don't know. I feel like your Peloton, right? You've just been doing your own thing. You created your own plan. You didn't look at other people. Like, yeah, okay, obviously there's trainers, but you're picking your own classes that you want to do. And you didn't necessarily make like a plan. And it's just in the moment, how do you feel? Do you want to do a bike ride? Do you want to do standing cardio?
Yeah. Okay, hold on. Since you mentioned the Peloton, I have to talk about the Peloton. You guys, I am absolutely in love with the Peloton. Now, even if you cannot get the bike, you can't get like the equipment itself. If you want to try the app, that is something I would really recommend. Honestly, when I mentioned before that there was no way. I even said, like, how do people work out after work? How do they get dressed, go to the gym, leave the house again to go to the gym, or bring their bag straight to the gym? Honestly, I think I'm very proud of myself for getting that Peloton because it worked for me. It's 100% what I was looking for. Literally, I come home, take Trumpet out, feed him, I run downstairs, I work out for about 20, 30 minutes. It's an amazing workout. Like the bike, every other day, I can either do like a yoga class, I can do a meditation class, I can do a full body workout, not anything. If I don't feel like working on the bike, I can do, other exercises. And it's literally everything that I said I wanted.
Yeah, like I said, in the moment, how you feel.
Yeah.
Do you want to ride the bike, or do you want to do just a standing cardio? Do you want to do meditation? Do you want to do, like, they have so many different things. And I think something that I think we were missing in the past when we were trying to, exercise and do different things, we were trying to do our own thing, and working out at home, it's quiet. Like, you have to put your own music on. There's no motivation. And that's one thing I think that makes a big difference with the Peloton app specifically.
They got good playlists. Oh, yes.
And they're very positive and motivational. Yeah. So I feel like it's something that you've come to actually look forward to doing when you get home. Yeah. And like on weekends in the morning and, Because even after like a long, hard day at work, and after I exercise, or even if I don't exercise and I do a meditation or whatever, like I said, like one of the instructors, she was like, at the end of the day, just give yourself a pat on the back. No matter how your day went, just give yourself a pat on the back because you made it. And whatever brought you to the Peloton bike today, you did it.
Patting myself on the back. And she was patting herself on the back. So I went ahead and pat myself on the back.
Physically,
and it felt good. Like, it actually felt good to give myself a pat on the back. And, like, you know, after work, I just clapped myself on the back like I did it. It was a hard day, but, you know, we made it. You know, even if you stayed in bed all day and you couldn't get up, you know, something happened in your life and you're sad and you're depressed, but, you know, you managed to get up, use the bathroom, shower, you know, pat yourself on the back. Because I thought about, like, life is really hard and we have to be our biggest supporters. And if not, like, who's going to do it? Who's going to pat yourself on the back? You know, you might get the occasion like, oh, good job. Wow, that's amazing. But nothing's going to feel as good as when you pat your own self on the back, literally.
Yeah, it's true. And that goes back to what I was just saying, always looking outward for the answers
For the
or
appraisal.
for support.
Yeah.
The appraise. Yeah. Like, we're always looking outward and the answers are not there. Yes, some answers, like, you can find kind of a little bit of guidance, but you're not going to find the answers you need. I think that's the main takeaway.
Yeah.
You have to find your own answers and develop what you want, how you want your life to be. And I think that's our main thing for 2024 that we need to start working on, which we have already. Like, you've created your kind of outlook for what you want 2024 to look like. I'm sure there's things you're going to add along the way.
Yeah.
And I've done the same thing. Like, yeah, I don't know. I think that's the main takeaway, is just create your own plan and be your own biggest supporter. Right? I don't know. That's the way I see it anyway.
What advice are you giving yourself for 2024? It could be a quote. It could just be one word. It doesn't matter. Let us know in the comment section below. I'm pretty sure we also asked this exact question in our last year wrap up for 2023.
By 2025, what are some things you want to accomplish? Who do you want to be? And what does that person look like in your eyes?
Yeah.
Right? Because I think that is another big part, is seeing the outcome.
Thanks for tuning in to the very first episode of 2024 with This Thing of Ours podcast. We appreciate you being here. And if you like this video, hit that thumbs up. You can share this video if you want to. And don't forget to subscribe and join the community, because it also helps out our channel as well.
Helps our channel, helps it reach more people. Because as much as you may have liked this content, and the motivation and whatever resonated with you may resonate with someone else. So help us get that word out to other people as well, right?
Yeah. Just do you, boo-boo. Do you.
Yeah, sure. Anyway, so yeah, that's it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And yeah, we'll see you next time.
Peace. Yeah, that sounds better. Do you, boo-boo. Do you. That's my saying for 2024. Do you, boo-boo.